Over the course of a few weeks, I have been consistently making Candy game review streams, and I'm glad that I've came back to creating content on Scratch, as well as playing all your games, especially the better titles. But I'm gonna do something different. You see, for the longest time, I only ever talked about games already made by skilled developers. And those videos I do highly recommend watching since they go in depth to what made them good, or better yet, why I consider them to be the best on the website. But then that leads to a very important question. What about the rest of the community? I already have CGR to make up for this, but I still feel like this isn't fair. So for this series, I welcome you all to the Scratch Battle series. In this series, I will be picking 2 of any games on the studio, and we will be breaking down the good and the bad about these games. And let me tell you, there's going to be a lot of bad. And for the battle part, I will be comparing the 2 games, and whoever has the more points wins the battle. It sounds a bit cheesy, but I thought this might be a fun way to see which game is better. Let me know down in the comments below. But anyways, the games I am reviewing today are Five Nights at Pixels Remastered, Chapter 1, and Five Nights at D's Remastered. Also, I will create a Scratch Battle Studio for this series, so I'll link it down in the description below. But let's not waste any more time and get on with the video, shall we? Let's first start by talking about Pixels Chapter 1. The visuals honestly are not as good. I put them at least decent level, but let's break it down. I will give it a point for a simple but unique background. Although it's simplistic, but it gets the job done, and I think more games should include a background, even if it's just for the main menu and it doesn't show in game. I also really like the jump scare toggle on the bottom right corner. In case anyone wants to toggle that on or off, it's completely up to you. I'll also give it another point for the inclusion of loading saves. This is honestly something I do not see in most games, even on Candy's Game Review Studios, and the fact that it's here gets a point. Now let's move to D's remastered main menu. Its main menu is also pretty simplistic. I don't have much to say about it since, in my personal opinion, there isn't much going on, but I will give it a point for the font. I mean, I think it looks pretty good here, although I was kind of hoping they did the same thing with the new game and continue buttons, because I mean look at them. Anyways, upon entering the office, you'd think that you'll get a phone call, but the game instead says screw you and doesn't. And instead you get a note from Patrick. And why does the button to hide the note have to be down arrow? Why not make it any other button? Also, is that my thumb or is it a pencil? Like, why does it look like that? Like, that looks like Freddy Krueger's fingers from Rick and Morty. God, this game's terrifying already. Anyways, when you click the red button, you're greeted with, again, another terrifying animation. And the cameras, they look alright. Visually, it's pretty meh. Some of these cameras I question because it's like, what am I even looking at? But I will be fair, and I will give it a point for its creativity, even if it looks like I'm looking into a vortex. Okay, let's move back onto Pixels. Once again, I don't think it's the best thing visually, but to compared to these, it's more appealing in my opinion. Like, one thing I disliked about these and actually liked about Pixels is the lack of gradients shown here. I think people don't know how to use gradients, and it can definitely make a game look a lot worse if you don't know how to use them correctly. I kinda like how the cameras look here. It doesn't have a lot of lighting, but it makes up with the variety of details and models present. So I'll give it 2 points for that. But we should talk about what this game lacks, and the first thing are the animatronic designs. Like, you can kinda tell these characters look a bit like they've been inspired by the Herald Remastered tutorial or the advanced tutorial, and that is a big no-no. Another thing wrong with the visuals is the perspective. Now, I know perspectives can be very hard to do, but you can see in some of the cameras here that the walls are not aligned with the floor, and it literally looks like something straight out of the backrooms or something. Okay, let's talk about the gameplay now, starting with Pixels. And I got to say, this is probably the messiest pair of mechanics I have ever seen. Now, normally you're supposed to hide under the desk whenever an animatronic is in your room, which is a mechanic seen in Five Nights at Sonic's 4 when the characters enter your office, you hide under the desk. The only issue with this mechanic is that it can be completely useless because your flashlight also stuns them. But for some reason, the flashlight has so much battery life that you can quite literally complete all the nights just standing there doing absolutely nothing but flashlight down the hall and easily beat the night since they literally just won't attack you. Not to mention, you can still flash down the hall even when the lights in the office are still off, so this just makes it extremely easy to beat, even on the hardest modes. This literally makes it so it overlaps every other mechanic in the game, but honestly, that wouldn't matter because I feel like the gameplay anyways feels lackluster. First, I think what should be done is make it so the flashlight runs out of 5% of battery for 5 seconds of usage or more, and take away the mechanic of them being stunned in the hallway. There's just no reason for it at all. Just figure for the ones that have to be stunned to just leave instantly. It's not that hard. It also doesn't help that nothing in the gameplay has to do with the camera itself. Even if you beat the game without exploiting the bugs, the camera is still entirely useless. Literally all you have to do is just sit there and wait. The camera has no mechanics to it, or at least to my knowledge playing the game. Also, it should come to the developers' attention, this weird bug. So when you're like in the office or something, I don't know if this works for the main menu too, but if you press E while in game, for some reason it pulls up the extras menu. I literally have no idea why it does that, but yeah, this is one of the few ways to break the game. As not to make this video an hour long or so, I'm going to keep this category short and give Pixel altogether points rather than just throughout like I did with the visuals. Now, instead of giving it 10 points for its gameplay, I'm instead just gonna give it 5 in total. The reason I'm giving 5 is because this game still functions correctly and does have a bit of a balance. Can the mechanics be changed? And should they be changed? I absolutely think so. But honestly, it's still functional and there's a decent amount of action happening, and I'm very pleased with the fact that each night isn't very long. It makes the game balanced so you don't feel like you've been there for an eternity, but the animatronics are very deadly in here. So good job on that. Which, by the way, I cannot say the same thing for D's Remastered. I literally have so much to say about this game, so let's just move on, shall we? Oh boy, isn't the gameplay just absolutely fun in this game? Okay, but seriously, I have never been more bored playing a game in my life. I am not even kidding when I say that absolutely nothing happens for 5 whole nights.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
And I'm just gonna say it. I literally skipped through all the nights. Like, I just could not deal with this pure agony just sitting in the office. Would you think I was lying if I said that it took me until 3 a.m. to finally have somebody show up in my office on the 5th night? Yep, the 5th night, halfway through, and then somebody decided to just show up out of nowhere. And don't even get me started on the mechanics. There is literally no creativity to it. Like, it is literally just a FNAF 1 clone, but without the F in Freddy, because there is literally nothing happening. And the mechanics are the exact same. You got your 2 doors, you got your 2 lights, you got your power, and a foxy animatronic that sprints down the hall and pounds on the left door if you get it in time. But yeah, I was falling asleep during this whole playthrough. Like, how are you gonna say that One Night at Culver's was more interesting and diverse? I literally played games, PNG joke games, that are way more fun. Those games sacrifices their visuals, but they put all their stats into creativity and gameplay. And I said it before with some of the cams. Also, why do we Why do we have a flashlight? Like, couldn't someone put a light bulb in the room or something? Like, the calendar literally says we take place 20 years in the future in 2045. No, like, seriously, 20 years in the future, yet they couldn't install a light in the office? Like, are you kidding me? Oh, and by the way, I'm not even on the audio category yet. But there's no ambience here either. No, like, seriously, this game feels extremely empty. There's just no atmosphere here or anything. The animatronics don't move. There's no ambience. Oh my god, I'm actually just losing my mind right now. Okay, well, I guess I should give some credit though. This game doesn't have much bugs. And like I said with Pixels, it did have a few, especially, you know, in the gameplay side. But still, the programming feels underdeveloped and lazy in some places here. Like, for example, there's no transition when the animatronics move on the cams, and the loading feels pretty forced and rushed at the same time, but at least it doesn't affect the gameplay. But at the same time, what gameplay? I'd rather watch paint dry. Okay, whatever, I just want to move on. I'm just gonna combine both gameplay and audio design points, which is 7. Add 7 points, please. I don't want this video to be too long, so I will try to wrap up the rest of the categories so we can get to the honorable mention. The audio design is of course way better than Dee-Remastered, but I don't think any of it is original, which will sadly hurt the creativity scoring for it. But honestly, it doesn't matter much since it works here, and I am glad I don't have to listen to the sound of literal silence for 7 minutes. So thank you, Pixels Chapter 1, for sparing me. Now, as for programming, I'll have to give the points over to Dee-Remastered first. If I'm being completely honest, the only reason Dee-Remastered is ahead of Pixels Chapter 1 in programming is because Pixels has bugs. Like, honestly, if it didn't have any bugs, this would have been very, very easy. Let's give Dee-Remastered 6 points on the board. Now, let us look over at Pixels Remastered. Yes, it does have bugs, and some of the programming is a little dumb, like the fact you can just beat the whole entire night by flashing your light for the rest of the night. But I don't think this game is horribly programmed. These are just minor mistakes that can be easily fixed, but there's also a bit of an issue with the layering with the jump scare toggle in the beginning in the main menu that also needs fixing too. But honestly, I'm sure the creator will see this video and fix everything, so let's not be too strict with it. I'll be generous and give Pixel 5 points on programming. Now, moving on to creativity, I didn't really get much from either game, but I definitely did get way more creativity with Pixels, whether it's visuals or gameplay. So let's give it 5 more points. And for these remastered, yeah, sorry, I didn't really get much from this one. It's going to be rough, but I'm going to have to give it 3 points for creativity. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys, these scorings you see on screen don't actually match with the official ranking I did for each game individually. So I'm gonna be fixing that by giving out the rest of the missing points to each game. Starting with these remastered, I forgot to include 2 points, so I'll add that to the board. And for Pixels, it was missing over 8 whole points, giving Pixel Chapter 1 27 total points, while giving these remastered 20 total points. Here, I'll even show you the official scoring on screen for you guys to see. So yeah, it looks like Pixels Chapter 1 has won today's battle. So make sure to congratulate the creator, and I hope you make a game that's way better than the score, because I know you can. And I'm sorry if it's a little rushed. This is my first episode for the series, and it's about 3 in the morning where I'm making this, so I apologize if it feels rushed. Next video, it won't be as heavy as this one in terms of edit. But anyways, let's move on to the honorable mention. For today's honorable mention, there's actually a twist. Instead of it being the best game out of the 3, I managed to find one of the worst fan games ever, Chucky's Reborn. It was originally going to be one of the games competing with Pixels, but after playing literally like 30 seconds of it, I knew it was not going to be fair or even entertaining to break down. I will keep this segment short, but the gameplay says it all. And you want to hear the craziest part? I find the gameplay to be on par with these remastered. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. This game honestly is not too far off. But here's the official scoring for the game. So yeah, congratulations to the creator. You're the first person ever on this channel to officially claim an F tier game. So yeah, big shout out to Floopsy. This is history right here, man. Congratulations. Anyways, let's get to the outro. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of today's video. If you want to see more, then drop a like. If we reach 100 likes on today's video, I will continue creating more Scratch battles, which means more of your games will be featured in videos. I'm sorry if this video feels rushed. It's about 4 in the morning right now. I appreciate everyone for watching. Special shout out to the creators whose games I've featured in today's video, such as FlooopsyYT, PixelexScratch, and ShadowIndigo. Thank you for letting me use your games for today's Scratch battle. I hope you guys are content with my rambling. And even if they are harsh or negative, don't take them personally. It was just all for entertainment. But yeah, give these creators some support. They do truly deserve it. And I'll see you guys next time.